Hey, YouTube, it's Will from Will Development. This is my 301st, weekly update. Is that the right way to say that number? Yeah, it is, I think. It doesn't matter. I will just go with the nitty-gritty. And last week I talked about going through a pretty rough week in personal stuff with my my current vehicle being a bit of a pain, let's just put it that way. And essentially, I had two options, and I chose both. Option one was fix the current vehicle, and option two was to just get a new one. And when I say new, I mean new to me. Having worked in mechanics for as long as I have, and having common sense, buying a brand new vehicle is a complete waste of money, and I could never recommend it to anybody. I don't care if you have $1 million coming in every week. It's just not worth it. It doesn't make sense. Most cars, when you buy them new, you drive them off the lot, they immediately lose like 5 to 10% of their value. Easily. And if you buy a used car, let's say you want a new, and I mean a new car, it's 2020 right now, buy a 2019, because odds are you'll be able to get a 2019 that has all the bells and whistles, and it'll be $15,000 less than the current model, or what you would have paid for that model if you'd bought it new. So, just things to think about. And like I said, I chose both. I am still currently working on the Ranger and getting it back to driving shape. Most likely we'll sell that. Honestly, I think if I sold it as it is, I could probably get like $900 for it, but I want to recoup a little bit more money than that. So I want to get it back to driving shape and get at least, $1,900, $2,000 out of it. Everybody loves those trucks. They sell easy. Mine's not the prettiest looking one. It's got some paint damage. There's some problems with one of the axles. You don't care about all this. The bottom line is I'm probably going to sell it just as soon as I can get it running adequately again. And this last weekend and week, I checked out a few trucks and decided to move up finally. And that's just what I've been doing. I started out with a 4-cylinder Ranger, went to a 6-cylinder, slightly newer. And then I said, you know what, I think I'm ready for I wasn't sure if I was, but I test drove one and I was like, yes, I am ready for it. So I moved up to an F-150. I stay in the Ford family. I am actually a Ford shareholder, by the way. It's nothing impressive, but it sounds cool. One of my best friends bought me one stock of Ford, which is like worthless right now, unfortunately, but I was making like 7 cents every quarter, which was kind of cool. And I'm a big Ford fan. I have a Mustang. I've always driven Ford cars since I've been grown, let's just put it that way. Cars and trucks. And they've always done trucks really well. Their cars have always been kind of shit, except for the Mustang. And that was always my joke, like, you have Mustangs and you have Ford. And the trucks are really good. Mustangs are, depending on the year, really good. And their cars are always kind of shit. I mean, things like, the Taurus and again, it depends on the year, but generally speaking, the Taurus was shit. Crown Vic was good. We're not a car channel. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I ended up getting a 2005 Ford F-150 with the 6-cylinder to 4.2, which is one of their best motors. Research it, you'll find that basically one of the biggest problems that motor had was essentially the water pump. There was a slight issue with the water pump. No, I'm sorry, that was the other model. Was it the 4.2? I know there was an intake thing they had where basically the intake gasket wasn't that great from factory, but figure this one had, not a lot of miles, but, you figure 15 years, about 10,000 miles a year they put on it, so we're looking at about 160,000 miles, which is nothing for a 15-year-old vehicle, and it is still a 5-speed because I wanted to keep it. I'm trying to stay with a 5-speed for as long as humanly possible. They're just simpler to work on. If something goes wrong, odds are you just need a new clutch 9 times out of 10. Yeah, probably more like 7 times out of 10, but it's way cheaper to fix a clutch than to fix a whole transmission. And I can do that myself. It's $300 usually, and then just take the damn thing out, put the new one in it. It sucks a little bit, but it's not that complicated, and it's not that hard. So It was, I got a pretty good deal on it. I'm not going to talk about all that. That's nobody's business. You want to know, private message me or something. I'm not going to put that out there. That's everybody else's problem. But it's so far it's been pretty good. I've had it a few days now, and everything's going good on it. Like any used vehicle, when you buy it, there's always one or two things you need to do. Highly recommend getting it onto a service maintenance schedule of your own. Usually, when people get used vehicles, I say just drive it for about a week and then get it on a service schedule, including no matter what, radiator flush, oil. If it has a differential, do the differential flush. If it has an automatic transmission, you're going to have to play that one by ear. Sometimes you'll want to do it, sometimes not. If you have a manual, definitely just flush or just replace the transmission fluid in a manual. And then, what's the one? The power steering, if it has power steering, hydraulic power steering, change that out too, because then you'll have it on a schedule and you'll know, okay, I did it at this interval and now it's on your time, not whoever had it before, because most people don't keep very good records. Keep a little notepad in your glove box just so it's in there and you always know, like, hey, I did this then, blah blah blah. So that's relatively handled. I've got to do some bearing work on it, which isn't the cheapest, but I know how to do it myself, so it's, it'll be about $300 when it's all said and done, because I have to buy some new tools and stuff, but that's exciting too. I like getting new tools. And you buy them once and you have them forever, so it's not a big deal. Whole job's only going to cost me about $115, and then all the other fluid flushing, $300-400 more dollars. But it's peace of mind. How much is that worth, right? So luckily I know how to do all that myself, and like I said, you should learn how to do that kind of stuff yourself too. You'll save yourself a little bit of money. Look up how much they charge to do like a bearing change out, or a transmission fluid flush, or a differential fluid flush, or a coolant flush. I mean, you'll be amazed how much you'll save just by doing it, and those are so easy to do. All three of those that I mentioned, they're jokes to do. They really are. Hardest part's just getting rid of the old fluid, and usually you can just take it to your local recycling plant, or your local parts store will usually take most of your oil. They usually take the oil and hydraulic fluids, things like automatic transmission fluid and gear oil. They'll take that kind of stuff too. They usually don't take coolant. Usually you have to go to a different recycling facility for that. So things to keep in mind. I'm running out of time. We'll talk about the week. Monday was squats and deads. Went pretty good. I did a lot of volume. Did like a bunch of sets of 10, and I only went to like 155 or something. I was working in with one of the younger kids who was there, and whatever he put on the bar, I just did it for 10 or 12, and so I just did that for a bunch, and then did 2 sets of 2 at 385 or 365. I don't remember what weight I went to, and then hit my 395. Tuesday, pressing. Did a bunch of singles at 165 for strict work, and then I hit a 195. Nice and easy, actually, on the second try, I think I got it. A big part of it's when I get that heavier weight, for some reason I keep forgetting to spread out real wide to get it good, and I end up being just a little more narrow, and just that extra 3 inches between my heels seems to help a lot with the pressing. And I mention that because I learned that tonight, too. Wednesday off. Thursday was squatting and deadlifting again, except I ended up going all the way up to 240. My hip and back felt great. No pain at all. Went up to 240 for like 6 or 7 singles, and they were just like boom, boom, done. And then just to kind of test it, because I'm stupid, I did one like 10, excuse me, 10-second pause with the 245, 245, not 240, 245 on my back. Just totally ass to grass, and just sat in it for like 10 to 12 seconds, and then just tried to explode out as much as I could. After doing like 5 or 7 singles, I was a little worn out, but it went great. And then deadlifts, just did a bunch of singles. That's sort of the beauty of doing deadlifts twice a week. You get sort of the ability to not have to do too much volume each day, because it's spread out over the week, because you don't want to do a lot of volume on deadlifts anyway, in general. And then tonight did press work, did doubles at 160 with 5-second pauses, only for 3 sets because I was a little worn tonight. It took me 5 tries to finally hit that 195. And then when I finally hit it, I mean, it was just like boom, and it was done, and it was nothing. So it's just got to spread the feet a little bit. Anyway, learn a little bit about mechanics. I'm running out of time on the card here. Learn about something about mechanics, and don't forget to spread your feet when you're pressing. And if you do, then what's your excuse?